Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I want to be an open book with you. No, you don't. I've got an email here from a viewer who actually said that to a girl on a date. And I've got a quote that I want to share with you before we get into his email. And it's by Howard Thurman. I think this is so important. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. At the deepest level, what a woman wants is she wants a guy who's come alive inside, who's excited about himself, who's excited about his life, who's excited about the people in his life, who's excited about the opportunities that he has with his mission and purpose in life to do something, just like the quote says, something that makes him come alive. Because when a woman's around a guy who feels alive, who feels optimistic, who believes that he can achieve anything and he's on the path to achieve that successfully, deep down she realizes, hey, if I were involved with this guy, if he's already achieving his goals and his dreams, he'll help me achieve my goals and dreams. And she can see herself in a relationship or dating a guy like that. Because, I mean, think about that. How many times in your life have you met somebody, whether it was a friend or a chick you thought was hot, or just somebody that had a magnetic personality, the kind of person that, like, when they walk in the room, everybody wants to go over and say hello, be acknowledged by that person. Why? Because it's usually they've achieved, or at least they are perceived to have achieved, a certain level of success or significance that maybe you or other people don't feel like you've yet reached in your own life. There's the kind of people that make you feel like you're the only person in the world when you're there talking with them. And this is what I'm talking about. When a woman's talking to you because you have a passion for your life. When she starts asking you things, you're passionate about them. You don't start talking about emotions and drama and all this fucking BS that you see in the movies, which is also a big part of the feminist movement, where they're trying to make men into act more like women. And us guys were just not built that way. Masculine energy is not about all of those things. Now, it doesn't mean you don't ever express your feelings, but you certainly don't go out on a first date or a second date or even a third date and feel like, okay, I've got to tell this chick about all the skeletons in my fucking closet. It's like, come on, hang out, have fun, and hook up. That's what you need to focus on. Because when you go out and you start focusing on this kind of crap, it's in a way you're like kind of expecting her to be your therapist. And this is not what you deep down feel like you really want to do anyways. You're there to hang out and have a good time, but it's just like this particular guy you're going to see as we go through his email. He's just basically doing what society is conditioned to believe that he needs to do in order to be successful. And obviously it's not working for him, because if it wasn't working for him, he wouldn't be here in the first place. So he says this. So I didn't have the whole email because he wrote a long email. That's why I say you got to keep to a couple of paragraphs. But so this was, I think, his third or fourth date with this girl, and he'd made some other mistakes. But he's just going out of his way to be over apologetic and too accommodating and too nice. And so basically he says this is the next thing that happened is an unusual thing most unusual thing to ever happen on a date. He says the date is going fine, but then she starts to inquire about past relationships and when was the last time you cried. I tell her, I mean, you could say something like, dude, I saw a fucking roach the other morning and it scared the shit out of me. I mean, keep it playful, keep it fun, be humorous, don't get all serious on her. Have a good time. It's, because you hear this shit a lot. It's like, when's the last, it's like this is the kind of stuff that they tell us on TV, and she's just probably somebody at some point told her that, oh, this is the kind of thing you should ask a guy. See how in touch with his emotions. It's a bunch of BS. Have fun with it. It's like, who wants to talk about that? It's like, let's talk about something fun. Let's have a good time on a date together. So he says, I tell her when I put my cat down, to which she responds, I'm sure you're divorced too. And she got me there on this one, but I responded on several times, clearly into emotions more now. I forget how, but we're doing well and enjoying each other's company, and somehow get onto the topic of one of my exes. She's leading the interaction at this point. She's asking the questions. How many times have I said whoever's asking questions is leading the interaction? Now, she's a leader and you're the follower. It's not a good place to be. He says, I tell her, and I had been in 2 long-term relationships, my ex-wife for 8 years, and a couple of years prior to this, another 5 years. It's always best just to put a positive spin on stuff like that. Just say, you know, I had relationships with really amazing women in the past, and 2 people either grow together or they grow apart, and we just grew apart. We grew in different ways, and we just got to a point where we realized that our goals and our values were no longer aligned. It was an amazing relationship, and I am the man that I am today because of what I had with them. So they were all great experiences to me, and that's the way I like to pass. I always look for the good in everything. Even when things don't go well, I'm always an optimistic person. That's the kind of thing that I'm going to say, I'm going to talk about, because it's how I really am. So he says, upon discussing a little bit about the first 5-year relationship, I explained how this woman also had a son. And she asked me if we're still in touch, to which I respond that I am not. And the look on her face at this point was that it's interpreted as, no way, I can't believe this. In other words, so she thinks that you're still talking to the ex-girlfriend. So he says at the exact moment a coworker spots me and from the bar decides to come over and say hi, or so I thought. He says, no, this guy decides to settle in and make himself comfortable and begins to open up on my date. I was literally shocked and couldn't believe this was happening. Well, this is what happens when you don't act like the leader on your date. It's like it just gets away from you. It's like the tail's wagging the dog. He says, I'm thinking he's going to get it and leave, but of course after 5 minutes I realize he's not going to leave. That's when you just say, Bob, I think you're awesome, and you know I love you to death, but I'm on a date with this amazing woman right here, and we were having a really great time and a great conversation, and so I'd love to chat with you and catch up tomorrow, but I really want to get to know this girl because, you know, she's really cool, and so I would appreciate if you would get the fuck out of here. And you say it in a joking, fun way, because that's kind of shit. That's how I am with my friends. That's how we talk with one another, and he'll understand. He'll go, oh, I'm so sorry, and you got to be the man, and that's part of being the leader. But when you just let her run the date, and then now you're letting some dude come in that's a friend of yours from work. Now he's running the date. He's leading the interaction. He says, she starts squeezing my hand, and a quick glance at the clock makes me realize closing time is in 15 minutes, so I motion for the check. I think this might have been my biggest mistake. I was being logical instead of setting my coworker straight and telling him it was nice to see him, but that my date and I like some time to ourselves. That's what you should have done, but you didn't. It's part of standing up for yourself and what you want. These are the kind of things that cause a woman to feel comfortable and open up to you, but when she sees you acting this way and letting other people run things, she doesn't feel comfortable trusting you with controlling the direction. She's not trusting your masculine core. And you're giving lots of reasons not to. He says, it did not show my date that I was prepared to stand up to the coworker. Yep. So he says, we get the check and we're out of there. And into a cab, and we go, and I drop her off, apologize for this coworker, and she seems okay, but I'm not inside. I'm pretty pissed. Quick kiss goodnight, and off she went. Well, you can't be pissed at anybody but yourself, dude. You let it happen. He said, the next day on Saturday, I apologized about the mix-up last night and complimented her on how she looked. And again, you're apologizing. It's like, why, dude? It's like, apologize for what? He said, and I told her I hoped we could close on the discussion by saying, I feel we didn't get a chance to finish our conversation on some sensitive matters. Hopefully you'll give me another chance at some point. Oh, please, your highness. It's like, come on, dude. It's like you act like a guy, like she's the only date you've ever had in your life. That's what you're basically communicating. That's not the words of a guy who's used to getting what he wants with women. He says, it's not easy to discuss yet, and I want to be an open book with you. It's like, come on, man. So he says, probably a big mistake here. Yep. He says, but I felt her reaction by her look was possibly one of, what an asshole. This guy walked out on some kid. So he says, that same Saturday, she responds by saying, I just read your entire text above, and I promise we will have plenty more chances to chat about everything. Sure you will. Thanks for letting me take this slow. I'll send you a photo later from the wedding. Unfortunately, I'm here wearing the same dress. Ha. I texted her back with a smile and nothing more. And here's where I doubted her and thought she probably really thinks I'm a jerk. And I felt I should leave the chance of dwelling too long on this. Well, you brought it up again. It's not Think about it. It's not positive. How is this going to help her feel good about you emotionally when all you're talking about is when you cry and the fact that you no longer talk to the ex who she had a kid? And it's like, come on, dude. Where's the fun in all this? Hang out, have fun, and hook up. So he says, Sunday goes and nothing from her. Monday comes around and I decide to send her an email explaining how and why things went with the ex and her boy. It's like, come on, dude. You can't make a girl fall in love with you over the phone or email. You do it in person. And it's like, now the way you're acting, you act like something really bad happened because you're over-explaining it. And so what she's going to see is that, oh, wow, there really must be something wrong with this situation. Maybe there's something therefore wrong with you. So he says, explaining how and why things went bad with the ex and her boy, because she only knew about what had happened. I could send the context of the email, but it basically explains how I did not just walk out on the kid. It's like, you ain't got to justify nothing. Again, this is what you see in the media all the time. You got to prove yourself to women. Fuck that shit. You exist, you're a man, and therefore, that's all you need to be, is your best version of yourself, and the right girl's going to love you for you. You don't have to show up and show your pedigree or your resume and tell her all the great things that you can do for her and all the talents and skills that you have and what a great husband you'll make and what a great boyfriend you'd make. That's a bunch of nonsense. You don't know this girl yet. You don't know any of those things. She doesn't know any of those things about you, and so you can't possibly be making these kind of determinations this soon. He says the intention was not to show baggage so much as it was to clarify I'm not some irresponsible jerk. Again, you do that in person. You communicate with a woman through email or the phone or through texting to set dates. Come on, dude. I say it all the time. He says, well, it sounded to me like it came across as baggage. And she responded by saying, I'm so sorry this has been bothering you, and it sounds like this was a very hard life challenge that lasted for several years. I promise I was not judging you. She was judging you. Why? She brought it up. She says, I was just sad for the boy, but I wasn't about to judge you for what was sure to be a very complicated and hard situation for everyone involved. See, think about the emotions of that. He says, in a way, your coworker might have been a blessing in disguise, and I'm not sure this was the best time and place to have this conversation. It was late Friday night. We both have been drinking for hours, and I was exhausted. Thank you for sharing something so personal. I hope you know your past doesn't negatively reflect on who you are. I'm going out to dinner around 6, but I'll call you after dinner if you're around. I don't leave for my trip until next Thursday, Memorial Day. Jumping off in the shuttle, but hopefully we can chat later. I try to play off as no worries, better safe and sorry, explain this kind of thing of how I saw it. I should be in after 9:30 tonight, catch up, enjoy your dinner. That Tuesday evening, she does ended up calling because she's on the phone with her sister about a problem she's having. She did mention this problem to me previously. She suggests calling the next day. However, here we go again. She warns she has an early birthday and expects she'll likely be able to call after 8. Wednesday rolls around, sure enough, as expected, I say. She tells me, started dinner late, blah, blah, sorry can't chat again tonight. Yeah, because you're a drama queen. It's a full week and a friend from Chicago's coming in. Wow, look at all these excuses. She's really busy. He says, now it's Saturday, not a single word. He says, I'm getting tired of this and wonder if I've screwed up too much by opening up. Yeah. So you need to go to my book and download it and read it right now. There's a right underneath the email sign-up box. There's a link that'll take you right there. And if you don't have a Kindle device, it doesn't matter. Just download a free e-reader app, and you can read it on any electronic device anywhere in the world. As you're making up way too many fucking mistakes here because you've been watching too much TV and you've seen too many movies that have influence of the feminist movement where the guy's supposed to act like a little weak bitch and act like a woman. And that's just not the way men are designed to act. It's not natural, and you can tell from this, it doesn't create attraction. And you pretty much, I wouldn't do anything, because this girl said she was going to call you, and she never did. And so that tells me she's trying to avoid it altogether. So I would walk and never look back, chalk it up to experience. If you hear from her, make a date to hang out, have fun, and hook up. And that's it. And if you'd like to get my help personally with a situation that you are having, a challenge in your relationships, or your personal life, or your health challenges, or maybe your business, you're trying to figure out your purpose in life, go to my website right now, click the products tab, and follow the instructions for booking a paid phone coaching session. And I will talk to you soon.